Hi everyone. Today I had a conversation with Jabir, or Jay, as I'm going to call him, and we spoke about how he's found himself in some very hot water through no fault of his own. He's lost access to his child, his only son, because he left Islam and his wife wants nothing to do with him anymore. He's currently in the US and he's struggling because now his wife is going to the court of Pakistan and she's going to flag him as an apostate, as a murtad, thus invalidating his marriage, taking away all custody rights that he has, and basically leaving him high and dry with no access to his son. Now, this is a very difficult situation, and I think he needs her help. I'm giving you an interview, and as well, there's a GoFundMe if you'd like to support him, which I hope you do. Let's get into it.
2019 August, like that's when I got married because obviously your half your deen is completed when you get married.
Yeah,
And but for us it's only left to monogamy, monogamy. But
monogamy,
for
yeah.
the Prophet it meant like lots and lots of marriages. But like, anyways, for us it was just one.
Yeah, yeah,
So so I mean I got married and then like obviously like at that time since I was like a really hardcore mullah or religious. So my priority was having a religious or a religious, a really good Muslim wife. And so in that aspect, in that sense, I found like a perfect Muslim wife too because she was an alima, like a religious scholar who had gone through like a 4-year, religious teaching program. And she also was a pediatrician, like a child specialist doctor. And so she was like a good, well-educated, smart, girl who was also very religious. And she used to do the face veiling, like niqab also. So she was right up there, bro. And that's what it was. And then, we got married. And like for the both of us, like the religion was the most important part, and everything come later. So like before getting married, I had barely talked like 30 minutes with her, and that's all. And then we went into marriage, because
Islamic
anyway,
way.
yeah, that's the
Yeah,
Islamic way, man. And
yeah,
like people get shocked,
yeah,
like over here, like people get shocked, like how could you get marry somebody just
yeah,
knowing them for 30, like, yeah,
yeah,
but that's how it is.
yeah.
And because what's more important is you doing the istikhara. Now, if anyone does
Mm-hmm.
not know what istikhara is basically like a kind of like a prayer that you pray to God, where you leave the decision onto God, and then the next day, like whatever feeling you have, if it's a positive feeling, then you go with it. If it's a negative feeling, so you feel like, no, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
go with it.
it's like a prayer for guidance, right?
Or
Yeah,
guidance, right? Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So, anyways, so that's that, and then we were married, and both of us, like I used to go to pray to the mosque every day, and like she was also the kind who would always like she was I'd say even she was really religious. I mean, she still is. And yeah, but otherwise, like we were like a really good, nice, happy couple. And, my parents were happy. Everything was good. Like, and then like in 2023, and funnily enough, like the same date as it is today, 1st September, like our son was born. And, that's like after like 4 years into marriage. And, that was like a really one of the happiest moments of our lives. Like, anyone who's a parent can relate to it, and but the funny part is like, for the first of 4 months or so, like, you don't get, those kind of like heavy emotional feelings with your kid. I mean, the mom tends to get more of that than the dad. But like once the kid starts, interacting with you, like speaking, saying words, laughing, and when he starts responding to you, that's when the father really gets, emotionally attached.
yeah,
You just cannot ignore it, man. You can just feel that unconditional love flowing right through, and you cannot just block it out, bro. I mean, it's just so real. So yeah, that's that. And then, that happened. And then like my wife used to be going to her like night calls at the hospital, like she was doing her residency, and I used to be taking care of my son all by myself for like 36 hours, 40 hours straight, every fourth day of the week. And that's really when like my bond with my son also became much, much
Increased.
more, yeah, it was much more, it was so deep. I mean, that I realize now, I realize like how deep it was. Anyways, and so then, like after my son was born, like, how they say, like sometimes, like when you have your first kid, then as a father or as a man, you tend to look at life through some, you
Differently, eh?
know, yeah. And I guess that's what started happening to me also, because I like these things came into my mind, like, how am I going to raise my kid? Like, the things that I have to teach my kid, the values that I have to pass down to my kid, right? And, whatever, like maybe now that I'm looking back in retrospect, maybe those were some triggers also. But anyways, like, I
Triggers
started
for what? What do you mean?
triggers to like me doing deeper introspection about
Right.
the truths and realities of Islam.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Because obviously, like if you raise a son or a kid, so if you're passing down everything of Islam and you're making them another brand ambassador for the Islamic cult, then you obviously need to be in complete agreement with the
Yeah.
agenda, right?
Yeah.
So, but anyways, like I started skipping a Fajr here and there, and then that obviously had its own guilt trips, and then like obviously my wife also was kind of like getting annoyed, like why did you skip the prayer today and all that, so I have that constant guilt reminder from my wife coming too. So then I just like I took up the Quran again just to like realign and calibrate myself. I was kind of going off the off the path, right?
Yeah.
By skipping Fajr. I could not, ignore anymore. I was like, okay, like if this is something, like what else, And then that just led me to looking for more kind of. But I made that decision at that point, like like now I'm gonna try and be neutral about it, try
Oh,
and yeah, and try and read the Quran's translation from a neutral lens, try and be as neutral as I can be as
objective.
unbiased as I can, be objective, right?
Yeah.
And like I was like if this is literally is the truth, the universal truth for all times and for everybody on this planet, right? So I mean, if I were not a Muslim, not born in a Muslim household, I just want to like maybe consider that from the other person, like how would this text come off to them as a normal, like you pick up a novel, you read it cover to cover, what do you make at the end, right? So I wanted to go at it like that. And then, like, I started reading. And one funny thing is also, like, in South Asia, for example, generally, like, the Muslims in those areas, we are kind of like discouraged to read the translation by ourselves because we're told that, like, Quran has these kind of like heavy wisdoms which, you cannot relate to unless you have the religious knowledge. So that's why you're not supposed to read the translation yourself. You just, make all the sawab and the point scoring through just reading the Arabic and just keep repeating that shit. And so reading the translation is generally not encouraged unless you're reading it under a supervision of some religious scholar or someone. I went into a rabbit hole of exploration and reading stuff, and I was always interested in history. I always used to read history and stuff, and mythology also, like like what these guys used to believe back in the day and all. Then we had our son, and then I used to be like my wife and me. We like I mean we never had a bad relationship. Like we were always like really good friends first because I am the kind of person also who is really generally very calm and friendly, and like I'm not the aggressive kind of person. Like my wife was a like ex-wife, I should say, was a little aggressive and all, but I was always one who's used to be calm and like, and that's how we worked. Like our relationship grew, and we were really, and like with our coming of our son, everything was even more better and happy. And So, with me now doing all this research on whenever I had my spare time. So, I mean, because I used to take my ex-wife more of as a friend than a wife, right? And she was my life partner. So when I started finding some crazies in Islam, so I mean, I had no other choice. Like in my mind, I had no, kind of hesitation to share it with my wife because I was like, she's my life partner. We're trying to build a life together. Have a shared vision for our kid, our own worldviews, our values and stuff. So I used to go to her with anything crazy that I used to find, and then she used to outright reject and not even like bother looking at it, and like she was like zero engagement on that, and that kind of used to hurt me, and I used to keep pushing, like, hey man, like, I mean, I'm not crazy over here. This is something, it's written right there for you to see. I mean, what's wrong? I mean, we can both, like, be mature adults and look at the thing with, as normal people, not like, go crazy and have arguments and stuff. I mean, this is like a normal discourse, man. Like we can
Yeah.
just
I
sit down
mean,
and engage with the content.
this is the right
And
thing to do, which is that you
right.
are you wish good for this person.
Hmm.
That's your life partner, your friend, and you want to share with them the things that you're seeing because you're seeing some problems and you want to explore it with someone else that you care about, right? That's the right thing to
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
And in her case, like she was also an alima, right? Like somebody who has gone through the Hadith corpus and stuff, and has more of a grasp on Arabic. Also, they're also taught Arabic, the Quranic Arabic and stuff. So obviously, but then, like, for her, it was like a no-go zone. I mean, she did not want to engage at all anything that has to do with outing Islam's narrative. She did not want to, like, go with it, and like she was not interested at all. And every time, like, she used to shut off and, like, build like a huge defensive wall when I used to bring up this topic. And then slowly, gradually, like with time, like this started becoming like the big, huge white elephant in the room, right? Because we were living as a normal couple, as friends, and as a husband and wife, and a mother and father. But this was always like uh, in the room, like where she knew that I am researching into some things that, from her worldview, I'm not supposed to be researching into. And then I am, on the other hand, trying to make her indulge in that too, which is kind of like how do you say, like the shaitan or the Satan is trying to get her through me while he is already getting me. He, he's already gotten me, and this is what's going on. And but like all I was trying was trying to appeal to her common sense and her logic. I mean, but ultimately, I guess I failed. But I mean, but
I mean,
and that was the
yeah.
beginning of the end for me, in a sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're not supposed to share that with your wife, bro.
Mm,
But I mean, it was like, this is like something like, if you're like in seeking the truth, right?
yeah.
You're in search of the truth, and so this is like the only logical conclusion. Like, you are gonna do that, because if you're honest to yourself, if you're true to yourself, and you see your partner also trying to strive for truth, right? Or at least that's what they claim.
Yeah.
So then you see something as true, then you obviously will share it with them, and that's what I did. And but it was like a difficult period, a really difficult period in that sense. Like whenever the topic of religion used to come up, there used to be an argument, and I always used to be trying to diffuse it. Like, I was like, this is not an argument. This is
Hmm.
just a normal discussion.
Yeah.
As two normal grown-up adults, we can discuss something, man. Like we can discuss the theory of gravity and its theory of evolution, and
Yeah.
we can discuss this too. I mean,
Yeah.
why do you
Mm,
have to get all riled up
yeah.
whenever we're discussing Islam? But I guess for her, this was, I'm like just the default. Like anything to do with Islam, she used to get riled up, like really, and we could not discuss anything. I mean, this is the and then like earlier on. Like she used to be busy, but then later on when she started getting more free time, so she used to be like watching these other stuff, like even TV dramas, like TV shows and all. And I used to like really get pissed off. I was like, you have the time to watch all this, but you don't have the time to sit with me and
Yeah.
yeah, I used to like ask her repeatedly, like, come on, you have the time to do that. Like, let's just sit down, give me an hour or 2 hours, and then we can discuss this and watch this video together, or
Yeah.
go through this content together, and then you give me your opinion, I'll give
Yeah.
you my
Yeah.
opinion, and then let's see, let's
Yeah.
come to a
She's the
conclusion.
scholar, right? Like she's a
Right.
alima.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and then let's so that we can, get done with this topic and, come to a conclusion and build a better future.
Yeah.
That's what my point of view was, but it never worked out, and she never engaged. And till today, it's like, okay, now we're into divorce, and but she still, because I mean, the kind of steps that she has taken, which has impacted me and everyone else, and so the person who did not deserve any of this and who gets the most impacted is our son, is my son. And I mean, unfortunately, he's only 2 years old, and it's his birthday today,
Yeah.
and I can't be there with him,
Yeah.
and it's just like so heartbreaking for me. I mean, from what it was to what it is now, and just that, I mean. It's something that just I never knew. I mean, eh, I could cry on something. Like I used to always think that I have a heart of stone. I'm like really emotionless, but this is something. If I just see his picture, I hear his voice, I see his video, tears just automatically start rolling down my face now. I can't even like no matter how much I tell myself it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. No, but still, it's just like so automatic.
Yeah. You know what? It's
And
not okay. It's actually not
yeah,
okay, and
yeah.
it's okay. I mean, it's okay that you're feeling this way. You shouldn't judge yourself. This
Mm.
is perfectly valid to feel hurt because he's a part of you, right? Like, and this is
Mhm,
a very, very strong bond that you have. You really care about him. That's what shows, right? It shows that you care
yeah,
about him. You want good for him. You want good for your now former wife. But unfortunately, she was too closed off to really consider, and she was too is too identified with Islam, and so her ego was talking instead of actually
mhm.
trying to be rational. There was no rationality because her ego was blocking
No,
you.
I'd say more than ego, it was the fear. See,
Mm,
because like when you dare to question, you are like kind of, you trump your fears when you dare to
that's
question.
true.
So like it was fear, like the fear that she's gonna lose her faith, and with faith, she's gonna lose all the comforts and the social, the whole like. Because how it is for me now, like because of me daring to question everything, like the entire world that I was built upon, everything has gone back to zero. And like it's like the rug being pulled under your feet, like all of a sudden, and you realize like you're just now standing on nothing.
Yeah, let's talk
And
about let's sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and so that's what happened. And like like I mean, then later on, like this, like that phase started around like May, March, April, May 2024, when I started like sharing things with my wife to, about all these things in Islam, which didn't make sense. And that's when the phase started. But 6 months down the lane, then because she used to shut off completely, and she was like, I don't want to hear all this, and I don't want to engage in all this. And that's when I had to like stop talking about it. But like, what happened? Like, because obviously we were not addressing the elephant in the room, right? So we slowly, gradually, we started drifting away. Like our relationship started getting impacted because of it. No matter how much we would try to be like good, whatever, but this thing was in the background. And then like she made me talk to her religious scholars and all, and I had my discussions like sometimes 4 hour long, 3 hour, 4 hour long discussions with them, but in the end, like their conclusion was also like, faith is something that is based on it's there's no evidence for faith. Faith is supposed to be like blind in that sense.
But,
Like you cannot see angels, but you're supposed to have faith in angels.
but I thought
You
it's supposed to be based on logic and evidence. That's all they
Yeah,
can
but
say,
even
right?
even for guys like Hamza Torres and all, like it still ends up as cherry picking, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah. I
cannot.
mean, yeah.
Yeah,
So going back to what you were saying, you were trying to, engage with her out of respect for her. She's like, okay, talk to this guy. You talk to this guy for 4 hours. Nothing came out of it.
nothing came out of it. And then, ultimately, it wasn't convincing, and so I had to tell her in the end, like, around like December, end of December, she also engaged, she told my sister also, like my sister was also religious. So now my sister knows and my wife knows that my conclusion is that Islam and Christianity, Judaism, whatever, they're all man-made. And I used to like tell them like, I mean, I respect those guys. Like really, I have the utmost respect for them for the fact that they were good philosophers of their time, and Islam is a product of its time. And they did really well. Like even Prophet Muhammad did really well for his, time, and he gave them good rules, but that's not relevant in our day and age now. Like,
Yeah,
we, for example, do not practice polygamy.
yeah,
We do not practice like, slavery or sex with slaves, for example. And so we can, or child marriage for that matter, so we can accept that and not be hypocrites. And then we don't need to be ambassadors for this and defend the Prophet or Islam
formulate,
everywhere. Yeah,
whatever.
because like if you are saying that you're a hardcore true devout Muslim, so then you are duty bound to defend all this, stuff as the eternal truth and the most
Yeah.
wise thing ever.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, yes,
but
yeah.
in reality, like I'd say 85-90% of the Muslims in today's world, they do not accept this, and they do
Yeah.
say that this all is wrong. But at the same time, these guys they have to just defend whatever. If you bring it up with them, like this is what your prophet did, they just have to defend it, and they're like, even though in their heart they don't agree with it, but they have to defend it. And it's like a poor, I don't know, poor them.
Yeah.
I mean, so the that's what my point with my wife was, and I didn't even want her to involve my sister in it, but like then she just told my sister because she was also really religious, and then fast forward, we had our like trip planned to the U.S. So her parents, they are U.S. citizens, and her siblings they also live in the U.S. and are citizens over here. So we had a trip planned to the U.S. in May, and we came here, in May, and we were living at my in-laws' house. And like a month passed over there, but after a month, my wife, she had some alone time with her, like to herself, like when I went to California to visit a friend. And that's when she decided that this cannot go on, and then that we need to separate, and her nikah is not halal anymore. And she was like, she was giving me some time so that I can come back to Islam and become a believer again. But like now that I have not, become a believer, so now her nikah becomes nullified, and she'll have to separate, and that's
And
when she
just
passed.
so people know, sorry, nikah means the
Oh,
marriage
yeah,
is
marriage,
now
marriage.
annulled. So basically in
Yeah.
Islam, if you're a woman and your husband leaves Islam, there's different opinions, but basically your marriage is either this is like you can have a period of time to try to fix it, but usually eventually it ends and it's over and she's
Mm.
instantly or very soon to be divorced and she can no longer sleep with you, be around you, be
E-
alone with you.
Exactly.
You're not her husband anymore. You have no rights over her.
Exactly. And one nuance is also that, which I find funny, which is that like women, like Muslim women, they can only marry, be a Muslim men, but
Yes.
Muslim men, on the other hand, can marry Christians and Jews too, man. So it's all for men. That's why it is man-made for men, you
Mm.
know? That's like a
Something.
perfect description.
Yep.
And so, anyways, because she had given me time, according to her, enough time that I come back to Islam, but I did not. And then that's what led her to take these huge decisions, which have really, I mean, I have never been like in such a low point. I never even knew like these kind of lows exist and can exist in someone's life. I mean, you
Yeah.
only hear stories, but like once you go through it, then it's like a really different thing.
It's traumatic.
It's traumatic as
Yeah.
hell because now with this like because my intention was never my intention was like my wife is gonna obviously like she's gonna come to the same conclusion or similar conclusion if not the same page, but she's gonna soften up her stances on religion and she's gonna find out like it's not really all that eternally true, like there are holes in the narrative, and
Yeah.
things do like sometimes not make sense, and then we as humans have evolved and have done better than the supposedly perfect ideal morals of God and his prophet. So obviously, like if we've done better, if we've evolved in that sense, so that that means that this is really not the eternal universal truth that we've been told. And we can, like my point with her used to be like, we can take all the good things from Islam, and then similarly, we can take all the good things from other cultures too, and like, and remove the bad things, the bad influences, and then that's how we can lead a good life. Try, and obviously I don't have all the answers, but like we together as partners can come up with something better. So I mean, it's not all on me, but you as my partner can help me, and we both can mutually decide on a better future and better morals and values that we need to adopt. And but so then I was just like randomly asked to move out of her house and figure my own living situation. And at that point, like this was in Houston, Texas. So I did not know anyone in Houston, Texas besides my in-laws and her
Mm.
family, right? So I didn't know anyone. And her plan was like, once I move out, she's gonna tell her, and until that point at least, like she had told her, like her brother, my brother-in-law and her sister, but she had not told her parents. And my parents obviously did not know. And so I really begged her that, no matter what, please do not tell my parents. And like, try and somehow convince your parents to not tell my parents too, because if they find out, then, those guys are like they're old now and they're in that age where like this is gonna be like such a huge shock
Traumatic.
for them. It's so gonna be so traumatic for them
Yeah.
that, because now like my father, like he never had a beard. Like he didn't used to go to the mosque to pray and all. He used to pray at home all his five prayers. But now in like when he's come into like later, like after like 65, 68, like in his 70s, so now he goes to the mosque for every prayer. He's grown a long beard. Now he shaves his mustache and everything. And my mom, she also goes through Quran classes and stuff. So now they've really become more religious, like ultra religious in this stage of their life. And for them to find out that their son is no longer a Muslim and like it's just like it's such a huge heartbreak, so traumatic for them. I never wanted that to happen, but
Yeah, and it should be your choice to tell them,
right,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But um, as bad these things they just spiral out of my control, man. I don't have any. It just spiraled out, and like now my ex-wife, she told her parents and everyone, and then later on, like my parents also find out, and now like I have been completely like
Cut off.
like totally like I was able to call my parents after all this had happened, like 1 month later, and those guys were crying and I was crying, and all I could do was just like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. That's all that could come out from my mouth, right? Nothing else I could say because they were like, dear God, please make our son's heart turn towards you. Please fill your light, your nur in his heart. And I mean, it's like I was speechless. All I could say was I'm sorry. It's because they're at that point where you cannot have a debate with them or convince them to change their or like reason with them
There's
like
no
why
point,
you
right?
think, yeah, there's no
Yeah,
point. I
yeah,
mean, and it's, I mean, I never like I was such a son, like one of like their favorite son, right? I was the youngest. I was like really, I used to live with them. I used to have dinner with them every day. Like on like when there was a holiday, I used to have breakfast with them, lunch with them, dinner with them, and I was like a source of joy for them because even my kid, like their grandson, he used to be with them, and they've been robbed of all that because
yeah,
of in their kind of point of view, their worldview. It's all because of me. And obviously, like how it goes, like it's also not because of me, it's because the devil has got to me. And now I'm under the influence of the devil. And it's as if like we have no logic, we have no brains of our own, our intellect does not matter at all. It's all just either the devil or the God. We are just
yeah,
like some puppets getting played all
yeah,
the time.
yeah.
Like seriously.
So
And
unfortunately, she told your family. I mean,
yeah.
they told your family. Now now you have two problems. You have to deal with this whole divorce. You have to deal with custody. You have to deal with being in a country where you hardly know anybody. You have to
Mhm.
deal with now y- rectifying your relationship with your parents. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, and add on top to that, obviously, I lost my job also where I was working because I've not been, I was supposed to go back and I haven't been able to because my son is here, my wife is here, and I cannot just abandon all that.
Yeah.
And now with the added stigma of me being an apostate because my ex-wife says that she is going to write the thing, take the reason because like how it works in the Hanafi Sunni Islamic thing is like, the wife, if she wants divorce, so she has to file for something called khula.
Mhm.
So, which is, so in that she has to state a reason
Yeah.
that, like, because the thing is, like, no matter how much they claim, like, women rights and all in Islam, like, the real fact on the ground is, like, women cannot take divorce from a man. Only the
Yeah.
man is allowed to give divorce.
Yeah.
So in the situation that she can only take khula, which is that she has to have a very, very strong reason that, why she wants to divorce. And for her, that reason is that now I am an apostate and I'm not a Muslim anymore, and which makes her her marriage invalid,
Hmm.
not halal anymore. So that is reason enough. And she says that you were always a great husband, you were always a great father, but just this fact alone renders our marriage invalid, and that is what she's going to write in the government records. So, like, once it is official in Pakistan in their government records, so then I become like an easy target for any kind of mob violence or vigilante justice because, now it's official that I am someone who rejects their prophet. Man, by rejection, that means that your prophet was a liar or was a mere philosopher and a politician, and he was not this holy divine figure like you guys claim, which is blasphemy. And in Pakistan, like blasphemy leads to
Oh,
one,
yeah.
getting life imprisonment, and in the prison also people can kill you, and then they are celebrated as like, they did the right thing because God is happy that you killed someone who
Yeah.
did blasphemy. That's the reality in that country. And obviously, like this was never like something that was supposed to happen in this way, right? Like I never wanted it to come out, but like all the events, they've unfolded in such a manner that it just spiraled out of control. And now that's how it is. And the worst part is that, through all this, my son, my baby, he is gonna suffer. He's gonna suffer the most because like the cult of Islam or the specific cult within the cult, which is the Hanafi Sunni version of Islam, which we were following. So in that cult, like the ruling is, that so the son is supposed to, if it's a son, after like 7 years of when he reaches 7 years of age, so he's supposed to be given custody back to the father if the father is Muslim. But if the father is not Muslim, So then he is entirely, completely cut out of from the picture. He's got zero rights over the kid. He's got zero custody, and the son is only like, a property of the cult. It's just like, if you're a Muslim couple and you have a kid, so that's just like a plus one to the strength of the cult, you know?
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. I never thought of it
Yeah,
like that. Like
e-
it's like you become ownership of the cult and the family doesn't matter.
yeah,
I mean, you basically
exactly.
lose your son because and it's same thing with inheritance. If your child leaves Islam, they don't inherit from you.
Yeah, and the only thing is like your son's last name is going to be your last name, your name. You're going to inherit that. But if you're an apostate, if you leave Islam, so you have zero custody rights, you have zero, like nothing at all. I mean, you're completely cut off from their lives, and you're not supposed to visit them because you can influence them, because of your non-beliefs, and that risks, them being a Muslim. So, but the most important thing is that they need to stay a Muslim.
Yeah.
Although, like, the religion of your kid is decided from your father, but in this case,
Not in
it
this
just
case.
gets not in this case.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just crazy. And then, like, now I realized like a few things. Like my ex, she was taking some decisions for our kid, and like she never informed me. And like when I found this out, and I was like, oh, okay. So she's getting her justifications direct from the word of God or the laws of God, which is why she did not like bother asking me or anything. And she's
Yeah.
just taking decisions all by herself because she's not supposed to. I mean, she can even make him leave this country, go to another country without even asking me for any kind of permission or my consent, which is like so screwed up. I mean, it's just like, Islam does not care about the father, or the father's bond, or his like child's emotional care and needs of a loving father and his
Whi-
presence, and not at all.
Which is why you do need to take legal action in order to find, like, basically protect your rights because you are in the US right now. Now we can get into that a little bit more. But
Yeah,
without this, she can do whatever she wants, right? And if in
yeah,
Pakistan, she can do whatever she wants, but you have some sort of power here in the West because the West doesn't give a shit if you left Islam. I mean, you have a
yeah,
right as a
exactly,
father,
exactly, exactly,
which is why the
exactly.
West is superior. They don't, it's not about your identity, it's about your relationship and your
The
biological parent. You
humanity,
have
man. It's
rights.
about yeah,
Yeah.
it's about the humanity, the human thing, man. It's not about like what your belief is.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and yeah, so like you're right. Like if she takes him to Pakistan, and like, in Pakistan, I have zero leverage. Although still, like the ruling is that, like when he reaches the age of 7, and if I am an apostate, then the custody gets transferred to my father, like the kid's grandfather. And if the grandfather is Muslim and stable, he stays with them. And if they're not alive, then it goes to my brother. And but still, it's the custody does not stay with the mother, which is another surprise for people who don't know about this stuff. But yeah, that's how and anybody who claims to be a devout Muslim who believes that all these laws are divine and perfect by God, so then they better follow all this, man, and they should not go to the court. They should like just directly hand over the son when they reach, or the
Yeah.
daughter when they
Yeah.
reach those specified ages, to that other person. Your
Yeah.
emotions don't matter.
Yeah.
It's the law. Anyways, so I mean, even things like, like I like whenever I video call my son, I'm like specifically told by my I was told by my wife, that ex-wife, that you cannot talk about religion or any kind of that thing upon their to our kid. You are not allowed at all. You cannot influence him on religion at all. And just because I have no leverage, so I obviously agreed to that.
Yeah. I think that's
Although,
fine. Like it's something that you have to work with, right?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
something that I will have to work with for now. But it also, like, in the human sense, it does not make sense.
No, of course not.
It,
Yeah.
I mean,
It feels wrong
it,
for
it,
sure.
it completely, like,
Yeah.
it's like a betrayal, man. Like, and so, but like, at the moment, the biggest betrayal is me just daring to doubt, and that leading me to question Islam, and ultimately stepping out with my own conclusions, which any sane person, I that's my claim. any sane person who tries to, take a adopt a and neutral lens and
Objective.
unbiased lens, yeah, an objective lens to reading all the, evidence that is out there for Islam's truth, and they will come to a conclusion that, okay, this does not make sense. Like maybe you want to hinge on to, like you still want to accept in the concept of God. That's okay, that's fine. But these characters and whatever they taught, like you can see all the wisdom in it, but it's not the divine ultimate truth. Because like if the claim is like it's 100% true and 100% perfect, so like even if there is like a 1%, 2%, 10% distortion or something that's wrong, then the whole claim just falls. I mean, then it's not 100% perfect, man.
Yeah. First,
Uh,
first of all, it's very hard, to hear, and I'm very sorry you're going through all this, and this is very difficult, and you're not alone. There's so many. I have so just yesterday we were doing a video, my wife and I, and I mentioned I know so many people that are this exact situation as you, and I wasn't even thinking of you at the time because I forgot we were supposed to do a live stream. This was a few days ago, actually. And then I said, I know at least five people. And now I add you to the list. There's so many cases of men I know. I mean, probably women too, but mostly I talk to men that are dads that have lost their family only because of Islam. And they're good dads and they're good husbands. And the overall, like the wife, I can think of so many examples where the wife is worse off now because she
mhm,
left this guy that was a good man and he's going to actually end up with a better wife. Sorry to say, wife number one is going to be left behind, but he didn't choose that. He did not choose that, and you're not choosing this. Yes, you're forced into the situation because it's like I don't always call Islam a cult, but in this way, it's very cult-like in the fact that they're like kicking you out just because you don't believe. And even though you truly are the best parent of your child, you will be the best parent of your child more than anybody else.
mhm.
And a stepdad, the funny thing is Islam says you can't trust stepdads, right? Like she's not allowed to if she gets remarried, you get custody. It's like this rule.
Mm.
But now you're not Muslim, so now what? So now maybe it
I
goes
don't
to the
get, yeah,
dad or
you're right,
something,
you're right.
right? Like,
Yeah,
but
you're
what I'm
right.
saying is it's so stupid, but like what is your situation now? Where are you? What do you need? How are you surviving? This is what I want to talk about because we have a
Yeah, so
GoFundMe for you and I want to share the GoFundMe, but
yeah,
let's introduce the situation.
so okay, now I don't know where to begin. It's just like obviously like every man lives for their own self-respect and dignity, right? But now I have like virtually lost all of that because the community that I belong to, my family, my social standing, my job, whatever money I had, the respect, on top of all that, like the respect or the reputation that I had, everything has been just wiped off because now everyone from that point where I was asked to move out and the whole thing, came out on surface. Everybody found out about my becoming a murtid or an apostate, and so from that point on, like now everybody just sees me through that lens. Like this guy is like the most stupid person ever who, you know, who gains nothing, loses everything, like in their eyes, like for them. I mean, even I sometimes tend to ponder and really get confused. Like, was it really worth it in the end to lose everything based on being true to yourself for the sake of honesty? Was it really you? Because I literally lose everything.
And
I gained nothing except that I was honest to myself or I was true to myself, and now I know better.
did you
Is
did you
that bad?
try to talk to your ex-wife and tell her you reconsider Islam?
Okay, so I initially like obviously I thought she was gonna this is gonna impact her and she might try and look into my kind of what I was my evidences and things that I shared with her. She might look in, but she did not still. So then I was like really at a very, very low point in my, like situation over here where I am all alone by myself and I have no finances. It's really even. hard, like I sometimes just go by one meal a day, you know, and yeah, so I mean, but then I just told her like, I'm willing to this. I called her. I told her like, how about this? Like, if I suppress my doubts, I just fake it out. I just like pretend to be a Muslim. We go back, take our son, try and live like a normal family unit again for the sake of our son, because he does not deserve it at all. He does not deserve all this. I mean, he does not even know what Islam is. He just knows his mom and his dad. That's all. I mean, and the love, that unconditional love that he was giving us and he expects in return. We do not need to apply all these conditions of faith on the, the love that he expects from us. And yeah, so, but she just said, like, no, I know it's not going to work out. And, like, I know what your beliefs are. And I was like, when I am saying that I am willing to suppress them, like, you cannot peek into my heart and, like, see, like, for that matter, nobody can peek into anyone's heart and see that if they really mean what they're saying,
I mean,
no one can, right?
that's an Islamic teaching
Right.
that
Yeah,
you have to accept people at face value when they say they're Muslim.
exactly. Exactly. I told them, but like she was like, no, man, it's not gonna work out anymore. So the doors of reconciliation are closed, and the only, thing that we can stay connected for is our son, and that's about it. And so I mean, I just carry like, in a sense that I feel the burden of guilt and y- upon my own shoulders that, it was me who actually dared to question. It was me who actually doubted, and now my son is going to suffer all that because of me doubting and because of me stepping out of line, And no matter how much I try to, you know, bring in sanity and bring in normalcy in this thing by sharing my side of the, you know, uh, whatever my findings about Islam and stuff, and my more secular humanist kind of worldview, which has evolved now with my wife, which makes more sense, at least to me till now, unless I get evidence otherwise.
Yeah.
And but it just didn't work out. And now, like, my son was like, he used to love me so much, bro. Like, he used to call me Baba Jan, Baba Jana. And like when I was playing with him, he used to push out everyone like from the room. Like, he used to push away his mom even, like, he used to tell her, go, go, go. Like, I'm playing with him only. And because I was trying to be the kind of father who does not stop him from his explorations, right? Like, you know how it is, like in basic culture, like if a kid is like doing anything, like, hey, don't do that, don't do this. Like, I used to be like the one who would not stop him
Yeah.
unless it was gonna be something that's gonna physically hurt him,
Yeah.
and I didn't ever like, I mean, yeah, there's no point talking about it. But I mean, it's just like because I'm not going to be physically present for them. I'm not going to be there for him 24/7, like how father has to be present for a kid. And now this void, this emotional void and gap is just going to be a reality for him, which I
Mhm.
so feel bad about because I just can't help but kind of place the blame on myself.
Yeah, I told you privately I've gone through some stuff as well, and um, hopefully once things settle down, you'll have a chance to go for therapy, and like my therapist really helped me to work through some of these things. You shouldn't blame yourself, right? But this is like a long thing of processing. This is not going to be easy. But it's okay to feel pain. It's okay to acknowledge that you feel sad. Don't it's easier said than done not to blame yourself because you didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know this was going to be
You're
the
right.
outcome, right?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, without saying, where you are and stuff, let's talk about the GoFundMe. So I want to share the GoFundMe and I want to explain why I'm going to promote this. So give me a second. So I'm going to share my screen here. So you created a GoFundMe, and I
Yeah.
want you to tell me about why you did that, what
So
what you need, and what you're looking
So
for here.
basically, like out of desperation, like the first month when I was asked to leave, right? So I had like all my funds that I had brought with myself for the vacation here. I ran out of mm, any funds that I had, and then I was just like completely all by myself out on the road, and I had nothing. I had nothing to myself, and I just out of desperation, I wrote this down, and I thought of I'll make a GoFund, but I never had the guts to share it with anyone. So I made this in July, but I never shared it with anyone because it just felt so below me. I've never,
Ask for money.
I mean, I have no other word than to say like begged for money from anyone.
Yeah,
And it's just been like so. Uh, but I just I kept pulling myself. Okay, I'd be able to figure something out. I'd be able to do something. I'd be able to do better. I don't have to beg for money from anyone. And but I just that's why I never shared it with anyone. And like just now things have gotten like so tough. I literally have no money left. And I just this person like this nice guy I met in California, like who was by chance going somewhere, and then he had a place, so that's why I'm able to stay somewhere, which is like a small space, and I still have to pay rent. I still have to come up with rent, and I took a loan from someone, and that's how I was able to survive this long. And but now I literally have no money left, and I just go by one meal a day, and like sometimes these guys give me some food to eat, and you
yeah.
know, and
So I'm
other
going to
other
add to
times it's
that.
not even that, and
Yeah, I just want to add
yeah.
to that that this is again through no fault of your own. You were put in this situation. You are currently in the US, but you don't have
Mhm.
a visa that you can work on, right? I won't give too many details, but you don't have a visa you can work on. Eventually you will be able to work. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
what we're
yeah, yeah.
looking for here, guys, what we're looking for here is to support Jay through this temporarily difficult situation where he's in between and his life has just been completely uprooted. He can't go back to Pakistan because one, how the hell is he going to go back to Pakistan after his wife just is going to claim in the court he's an apostate? Well, how is he going to safely go
Right.
back to Pakistan? He's going to be completely shunned by the community. It's like people are going to be talking. Everyone's going to know this guy's an apostate. That's the first thing. The second thing is like I mentioned, you don't have a work permit at the moment, right? So you're not able to work. You are completely dependent on the kindness of strangers. And if there is a situation where people should help, this is one of those situations where it's not that he doesn't want to work. It's not that he can't. He literally can't. He needs money. And maybe we can talk about the lawyer, right? You need a lawyer as
Mm,
well in order to
yeah.
figure out the whole situation with living in the US. You need a lawyer with the whole custody situation because if she goes back, like
Yeah.
this is not right that she could just take your child here and there and everywhere. Like no, that's
Yeah.
not right at all.
Yeah. And according to like the religion, like her religious ruling, like she's not even supposed to ask me. Like, I mean, she's not even doing anything wrong. There is no human rights aspect to this.
Yeah,
There's only the religious aspect in her. You and then, yeah, and Samir is completely right. Like, I mean, it's like I'm even if I want to work, for me, I cannot work. It's illegal for me. And the whole situation right now in the US with all the Trump rhetoric and like eyes going all crazy. So it's like you know, am left with no choice but to uh, look for kindness and just get through with this temporary phase as ASAP as quickly as possible and get to stable grounding and establish myself and become like a stable father for my son where I can actually be there present for him and I can be more present in his life and show him that whatever I did I had my reasons and it was not I never wanted to abandon you or this was this was never supposed to happen. You were supposed to get all my love and care, but I mean he'll probably once he grows then he'll probably see my reasons maybe. even though he's going to be raised in an environment where the entire conditioning is going to be around Islam and the religious dogmas are going to be fed to him, and he'd have no other way but to look at me as the villain or the bad character in this story. I'm sure, like later he's going to figure it out. Like his father had his reasons, and things were not in his control, and he did what he did, just you know, for the sake of honesty and truth. And truth and honesty are some things that do really matter in this world,
Yeah.
and and not being a hypocrite about it.
Exactly. I really do empathize with you in the situation you've been put in, and now what you have to deal with. And honestly, all of this is because of Islam. The entire situation
Exactly.
is this entire problem is caused because of religious believers wanting to do what's right. And what's
Yeah.
right in this case is to destroy the whole family over, and you've tried everything, right? You've tried everything that you could honestly try that would make sense to try, and this is where you ended up. So
Yeah,
I
and Samir, just to add, like I even I mean, when I got like frustrated in the end by all my tries, I was like to my ex-wife, I said, so basically what you're saying is for you, it's more important that I believe in like instead of the love and care and the needs, emotional needs of our son, it's more important for you that I believe in some character from 1400 years ago in the tribal deserts who, did interstellar travel on a mythical horse and, went all the way to meet God apparently and haggled. He literally haggled with him for the amount of prayers
yeah.
and then, came back with all that kind of mythical stuff. So that's more important for me to believe in. And for you, it's more important that I believe in all that kind of myths and stories instead of the real, our real, the reality, like our real son right in front of us, whose emotional care and needs are more important than all that stuff. And then she was like, "Yeah, you're right. That is more important because I believe in the afterlife, and the afterlife is more important for me than this life. So whatever happens in this life, if my afterlife is getting impacted because of this, so I am obviously going to choose the afterlife." And then all I could just do was nod my head, just be like, "Man, this is unbelievable."
It really feels unreal. It feels unreal that in 2025, I mean, it's one thing to believe in a religion, but it's a whole other thing to rip apart a whole family. And to some extent, everyone has a right to choose who they want to be with, right? Everyone has that
Mhm.
right, but no one has a right to just rip away one side of your child's parent, like one parent, half of your child's like parent. Basically, half of your child is the dad and half's the mom. Nobody should have the right to do that ever.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't want to be with me, fine, but I still have full rights to see my child, spend time with them. And I do hope that through the American justice system and court system and stuff, that you'll be able to, finagle this and make it work. I think it will. Like, let's be hopeful,
Yeah,
let's be
you're
positive,
right. Like because in the US they care more about the needs and care of the child. But like for that also, I need to come up with funds. Like
Yeah,
I need
yeah,
to
yeah.
come up with lots of funds, man. Like this is no walk in
Yep,
the park situation. Like these
exactly.
legal
One
battles are, yeah,
expensive, yeah, for sure. So one step at a time.
yeah.
Let's get you, stable and, having at least your day-to-day expenses for now. You have, I was very impressed with the way you wrote this, and it shows
Mhm.
that, you have a very concrete plan. You know exactly what needs to be done. The money will go to good use, and you will
Mhm.
take those steps in order to become self-sufficient.
Mhm.
You did not, like, I offered to do this, so it wasn't like you asked me, can I do this?
Mhm.
I myself offered to share this. And I really do hope that more people, thank you, Paige, for donating. I really do hope more people will donate as well and support you through this tough time. We're not going to talk about where he is at the moment, Paige. We're not going to discuss the actual location. Just want to keep it as
Yeah,
like
because
less
like
detailed as possible.
one fact
Yeah.
is like, if people don't know, but like apostates or people who reject Islam, like they get like in a very precarious situation where, just by association, even your family back home can get hurt or they can get, face violence or other extremes just because just by association.
Yeah,
So that's why this face mask, that's why you have to cover your identity and everything.
exactly. So I think
And
we'll end on that, even though there's so many other things to talk about. Let's
yeah,
not go into those. We'll talk about those another time. You have a whole list you
yeah,
sent
sure.
me of things about Islam that you wanted to discuss. Um, what I would say is I think this is a good time to stop. We've covered a lot. We covered your story in details, and I do wish I want to end on this. I do wish you really well. I hope that things go
Yeah.
well for you.
Thank you,
Things
man. Thank you
th-
for having me. Yeah.
yeah, no worries. That's why I do this. This is part of the job of having a channel is to be responsible and support people that are going through the same thing.
Yeah, and I just hope I'm able to get through this phase really quickly and I'll be like a role model or an example for others, others who dare to take these steps. So, just like
Yeah,
you are a role model and example for others, like I would want to be like someone who really becomes like a success story in this case and like, lead by example and show to others that, like holding on to truth and honesty can lead to a better place. If not, like even if you go through a transition period where you get really in the worst possible situations, but you fight through it, you become like a stronger man and or woman, and you come out even better, and then you're able to live life
exactly.
and
Thanks for watching. I hope you understand just how difficult the position he's in, and if you can support him, it'd be most appreciated. If you can't, please share the video with others so that the word gets out. Thanks again for watching. This is your friendly ex-Muslim Abdullah Samir signing out.